All right, and we're live. Welcome, everybody. My name is Shyler. I go by Crypto Hippo on YouTube, and I run a Elliott Wave channel on YouTube here where I do daily updates. And I've got Jim of All Trades with me here. We're going to be doing a collaboration in this video. And so I just want to say hello to everybody out there and give Jim an introduction as well. Why don't you go ahead and say hello as well, Jim?
What's up, Shyler? Appreciate your channel, man. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm the same. We found each other last year sometime. I stumbled on your channel actually from one of your Discord members, Carrie, actually found me and mentioned you, and I was like, oh, there's somebody else doing what I'm doing, and I jumped at your channel, and we're kind of doing this same channel pretty much. You do it better than I do, but
no, we are. When I went and checked out your channel after we connected, I was like, holy cow, somebody is doing this with me. I was like, teamwork. Yeah. I like it. So
yeah,
beautiful.
So, and now we've got Sin and Adam as well, and so we're forming a YouTube revolution for Elliott Wave. So
we got some big things ahead. I like it. So yeah. Awesome. Well, everybody that's watching this, what we're going to be diving into in this video is actually a macro count for Bitcoin. I've come across, there are a lot of different macro counts out there in regards to Elliott Waves. If you just Google Bitcoin Elliott Wave long term, you will find so many different Elliott Wave counts out there. It's crazy. I was looking it up right before we came into this video, even just to see what was floating around out there. And there are some crazy counts. With that being said, I've got one that I felt is absolutely beautiful and matches up so well with Elliott Wave guidelines and so forth that I wanted to share it with Jim. I wanted to share it with you guys as well. And more importantly, I wanted to collaborate with Jim on it and have him bring up some ideas as well as why it might be incorrect or what flaws it might have into it too, so that we can see the pros and the cons to both sides of it. So with that being said, I want to dive into this count, and then I know that Jim also has a long-term count for you guys as well that we're going to be diving into right afterwards as well. So make sure to be staying tuned for that as well so you can see both sides of it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Beautiful. Can you see my screen?
I can.
All right. Okay, so I'm working off of Bitstamp is the one where I've created my count here. And Jim has brought up some great points in regards to Brave New Coin that we will address in this video as well as we move forward here. But I want to prove my case or my count here first off of Bitstamp, and then we'll dive into the dirty on the rest here. All right, so this is actually Jim's first time actually being able to see this too. He hasn't been able to see everything that I've actually come up with for this count here. So it'll be really good. You guys are seeing this for the first time. Jim's seeing this for the first time. So I'm curious to see what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments below as well, you guys, on what you agree or disagree with this count as well so that we can all learn from each other a little bit as we move forward. Okay, so first off, the thing that first came to me in regards to this here, for the longest time I couldn't figure out where this count was actually starting from, because most people you're going to see are actually counting it from wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 5 like that. And although it seems fairly close, I would argue that it's incorrect. And I want to show why that might be in regards to this count here. So the first thing that made me stumble upon this here is actually a fib retracement that I used from here. Now, keep in mind, we're on a log scale here, and that will definitely change things up if you're on a linear. So in regards to that, we came back to a 0.32382 just to the T. It was so beautiful. We accumulated right by the 0.236. And that's a very common characteristic of a fourth wave. And so because this met up with fourth wave kind of requirements or characteristics, it told me that this was a wave 3. And so when I came back here, this originally, I was in agreement. I was like, well, this would be our wave 1 then. And I would pull back and I said, well, our wave 3 should hit a 1.618 extension, is pretty typical of a wave 3. But we hit a 0.786. We hit this really random odd extension for a wave 3, and I couldn't wrap my head around it and actually agree with it. But when I came back and I kind of tore this down right here, I noticed that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 waves in there. And so what that did for me was it made me think, well, maybe we start from here and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is our first wave. What happens if I pull an extension from there? And it puts a 1.618 extension up here all the way to $136,000. I'm like, okay, well, this would have to be a wave 1 then in regards to this third wave here and a fourth wave here. So I took an extension of that one, and watch how beautiful this matches up. So 1.618 extension matches up almost to the T with where our top was here. In regards, it hit 16,000. We had a top of about 18.9 or something like that. Let's see right here. We hit high was 19,666. So pretty darn close to a 1.618 extension. Just started to match up really beautiful. Came back to a wave 4 territory here. And so when I take a look at the broader count here, it made me think that this would be a wave 1 here. Pull back for the 2. We'd have a 3 would be up here of a larger degree. Preferably our 1.618 is where that should extend out to here, 136,000. A wave 4 pullback, and then another 5th up there, even higher. So when I break this count down here, this should be a wave 1, 2, a 3, a 4, and then this 5th here should come up to 136,000. Well, if this is where our 5th wave should land, then we would have a wave 1, 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5 in here. So we break this subwave down even more here. And so I would look at this as a wave 1, 2, arguably whether or not we're done here or we need a little bit lower. And then 3, a 4, and a 5 here. So I would take another extension of this move here as well. And 1.618 puts us at $71.8 thousand. And then the common area for the 5th wave to hit is a 2.236 extension, which puts us at $180,000, which would get pretty close to 136,000. It's right about in that same range in regards to if we kind of drew like this rectangle box up here. So this kind of sets our tone for our target in regards to this overall range here. Now,
target boxes don't do very well on log scale, man, because if you move it the smallest amount, you got thousands of dollars.
That's true. That's true. So I won't move it. I'll just keep it right there. We'll just kind of keep it tight. But in regards, 136,000 and the 180,000, those are basically our 2 extensions that we're kind of matching up right here. And then if we take a trend line as well, in regards from our 2 tops, our wave 1 here and this wave 3 here, we can see that it almost lines up identical with where we would be matching up with this. Just coincidentally, we basically take a wave from the wave 2 here and this wave bottom, wave 4. We could do another trend line as well, which puts us at support levels with where we're at right now. And then the other thing that I would bring up and mention too is that our halvening, just highlighting where those are at using a vertical line, is every 4 years in May. So we've got 2020 in May is going to be right there. We've got 4 years earlier than that is 16 in May right there. And again, 4 years puts us 2013. Boom. Oh, well, let's do it. Let's do it actually on the price there. Okay, so this is basically how I've got the fibs matching up. Now we can target the 5th wave would honestly be even higher, and we could argue that or whatnot, and where the 4th wave retraces to. Technically, I've ran those numbers to see where they would basically put us at, but I would be looking for, in regards to this move here, we're looking at anywhere between $100,000 to $150,000 for this wave 3, and it puts us there in a time frame roughly of about, what is that, mid 2021. And we could go slow, I'll give it that. Like the slowest case scenario, it would be in relation to how we kind of scraped along the bottom right here. We could do that same scenario here and kind of move more towards the middle of the channel by the time we hit that rather than the top. So I'll give it the benefit of the doubt that it doesn't have to move that fast. It could move slower in regards to that. But I would also argue too that that everybody knows about Bitcoin now, and they just don't know how to buy it, or they don't believe in it, they don't trust it, or they don't want to get invested in it, kind of thing. So the moment that we break over these highs here, it's just going to be all over the news again. Everybody's just going to be going wild. And in my opinion, I think it would grow faster than it did right here. So that's my count that I've got for Bitstamp. And you know, the fibs that kind of match up and why it all kind of adds together there. Jim, you know, give me your thoughts, man.
Logic is fine from what you have. Just a couple of thoughts that I see, just that I had, is that if sometimes when I don't know what the count is, like, when we were talking earlier about the Brave New Coin, that there's an entire leg that Bitstamp doesn't show, that Brave New Coin chart does show, right? So if that leg changes the count somewhat, the question is, okay, well, what is the count? And so sometimes when I don't know the count, I start with what I do know. What you've shown is actually quite good. Okay. It's like, okay, we could start with this. We know this, even if what you've shown is like a sub count of some other larger wave, right? And so I think it's probably solid logic to say that your 1-2 from January 2019 to now, that 1-2 wave is probably a 1-2 indeed. I made a video about that a while back. So what would be interesting for me, if you want to mess with it now, is let's go into a linear chart and run the fibs there and run the extensions there. And just in the daily or in the weekly chart, but run the fibs from a linear standpoint. And I would guess that the 2-618 extension, or even the 3-618 extension for the third wave, would match close to what you're saying. So you've got a target up at, for the top of the third wave at about 71,000.
Yeah, 71,000 is right.
So let's see what the fib extensions look like if you ran it in linear scale.
Just for the 1-2?
You might just want to duplicate the chart and clear everything and see just compare it that way.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. So in regards to just this 1-2 is the
measurement? Yeah.
Okay. So in linear here, got our magnet tool. So we're snapping right to the goodies. All right. So 1.618 puts us at 23,830.
Yeah. What's the 2-618 get us to?
Yeah. So if we get an extended third, for sure, 34,588.
Okay. And the 3-618?
45. And if we go higher, 4.61856.
Wow, it'd have to be pretty extended.
Yeah. So
to get up there.
Right? Yeah. FOMO to the max. So yeah, I mean, realistically, right, we're probably looking at the 1.618 to 2.618 from a linear scale. And so, I mean, for me, for a trading style that I use, I definitely intertwine in between the log and the linear to basically see which one is a little bit more relevant once we get to different basically price laps where we're really stretching price out. Sometimes the log tends to match out a little bit better. So in regards to just a linear, I think it's very realistic too to be looking for these ones on a conservative basis for sure. I think these would be great pivot points. So I like that. And in regards to a fifth wave too, so even if we get an extended third, maybe 34,000, and then the fifth wave would take us into maybe 3.236, so about 40,000, maybe 45. Would we be
regardless? I don't know that we're going to care a whole lot when price starts getting up there. As far as I mean, I guess that we will care, but I mean, I think we'll be pretty ecstatic. That
especially if we're buying down here at 8,000 and 6,000 and 5,000. Yeah, we'll be pretty happy.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit. So you had mentioned this Brave New Coin too. You brought this up to me and how it brought in some new data. Is there anything else you wanted to mention here with the linear?
No.
Okay, so great point to bring up, right? Because this definitely brings in a different hindsight. And like, obviously, these are the first targets that we're going to hit in regards to Fibonacci extensions on a linear basis. This is definitely good areas to be taking profits or looking at, pivot spots at least and being prepared for it. And then obviously, if you want to be a perma bull, then go with that bigger $100,000.
Yeah.
So, let's go dive into this Brave New Coin then and just see how this same count, how it gets changed up now going to a different exchange that has more data to it too, because that was something that Jim and I have both been looking at in regards to this extra leg. So I want to overlay this real quick and show that Let me back to log here. Snap that. Okay, so notice the wave structure here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we got this big hump here. Okay, so as we roll over to this, that same spot is right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, big hump. Okay, so what that does is this is a whole new piece of data. Okay, it's a whole new wave. And that honestly, that drastically changes things up. It changes up things so much that even from a log scale, when you pull any sort of a Fibonacci extension in regards to this, and I'm going to go to magnet tool and clip this here. Right? I think, Jim, you said you did a video on this, putting together a long-term count on this, and recognized as well that the Fibonacci's just don't match up at all.
Yeah, I mean, if you want $1 million Bitcoin, you're going to love it.
There we go. So for the really big perma bulls out there, here's your chart. You're going to be working off the brave.
We got clickbait video right now, buddy.
Right? Yeah.
$1 million Bitcoin question mark.
Yeah.
At least we talked about it in the video, right?
Hey, we did. We justify it even. We use Fibonacci and everything, right? It's got to be true. Okay, but I'm going to overlay the same count just to see where it does put us at in comparison to all of this in regards to the Bitstamp one. And then you guys can see the pros and cons to both exchanges, to both counts, and you can choose for yourself. What do you agree with? If you don't agree with them at all, let me know. I'd be curious, leave a comment. Let me know, do you agree with Bitstamp? Is Bitstamp a better exchange than Brave New Coin? What's your input on that, you guys? Is there some information that you know about Brave New Coin liquid index that maybe we didn't bring up in this video? I'm sure that we can learn from you as well. So share it down below in the comments, you guys. I'd appreciate it.
I've got some things. I got some things I can share. If you want me to I got to pull up the chart. I haven't done it, but if you want to let me share my screen, I'll show you some things.
Hit it. I like it.
Let's see here. Right there. There we go. Sharing. All right. Let me pull up Brave New Coin here. Okay. Get rid of these. There we go. Just kind of clean it up a little. Sorry, I was not prepared for this.
Throwing you on the spot, man.
That's okay. That's all right. All right. So let me go to the weekly. It's a little bit better. There it is. Clear for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So a couple things that not to teach you anything, but something to recognize here is that sometimes you get a wave structure that looks like this, where you get an extended fifth, right?
Yeah,
where
for
sure. the fifth wave is almost a 1-to-1 extension of the 1 to 3. In fact, that's a common extended fifth fib. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And so, and often what we'll do when price is being made, we'll throw the fibs on that and say, oh look, we got a 3-wave move, and then we got another, we got this, and try to break it up into another 3. And in other words, you're trying to make that, oh, that's a corrective wave, but it's actually not a corrective wave. It's a fifth wave extension. And I would submit to you that possibly that's what you have here in the third wave. That I haven't pulled the fibs. I can't remember what my fibs are here. But just looking at from here to there. Okay. It almost looks a 1-to-1, doesn't it?
Yeah. Pretty close. That looks pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's test it and see. Yeah, that it's a 786, which I think extended fifth can come to a 786, couldn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
or that fifth isn't finished, like you say. In other words, that we're in the fifth of the third still, and we still have some room to go up.
Yeah, yeah.
So in other words, it's kind of actually validating your count. But this isn't the one wave like you have it. Here's another possible way to look at it, that this is 1, 2, and all that's 3. This is 4, going to get an extended fifth up here in the $100,000 region. Make sense? Yeah,
beautiful. Do you think that the fifth could be done given the size of the correction that we've currently done right there? Do you think that maybe the fifth is done, but that's the fifth of the third, so we still have a whole nother leg up?
Yeah, but that would imply a deeper fourth, yeah? So it might imply another wave down, which I can talk about in just a second. Let's just see what, so if that's the end of that, I mean, yeah, I mean, that comes down to, yeah, I mean, cause I'm pulling my fibs a little differently than you did to
Yeah.
get the 382. How did you pull it? You pulled it,
I pulled it from your
from,
4.
from here.
Yeah, up there. Well, no,
You're,
up higher.
oh, you pulled it from here.
Yep. Yeah, there you go.
Gotcha. And that would be the 4th of the 5th.
Okay.
And so then you have, so in other words, I guess the count is, I mean, I just throwing it out with you, just kicking
Yeah,
it
no,
around.
that's the beauty of it,
2,
man.
3. So we got some kind of extended 5th wave where the count in this wave is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Okay.
something like that. And now you're getting the 1, 2 of the 5th. Just a thought. That's the way when I was messing with it. That was the best I could come up with, based on the fibs. The problem you're having with the fibs extensions, I had the same issue. Like the fibs don't work out, and so that was the way I kind of dealt with it. I'm like, well, we're not done. That it makes, rather than it doesn't. My only criticism of your count is this doesn't fit the eye trick for me. You know what I mean? If you call this the end of your 1 wave and 2, and that's just a really big 1, 2, it just doesn't, the symmetry, I don't like it. That would be my criticism without being unkind or anything. It's just that would be the only thing that I would say, hey, I'm not sure about. Because this looks too much like, let me zoom in here. And again, not trying to be critical, but you asked me to, so.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
All right. Yeah. So the other issue, let's see, that I had earlier, I was looking. No, it's not here. It's at another place. So a lot of times, I know what you were saying here. You got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like 5 finished waves. To me, the symmetry, I have this rule. You might not go by it, so I might be a little different because I trade on the Forex a little bit. And on the Forex, we're not so technical in Elliott Wave, and we use Elliott Wave, but we're not so technical. I mean, there is technical on the higher time frames for sure, but using algo targets that trade devils spend a lot of time with, and that's good. But as far as the way we do it, running the extensions and looking at the 127 and the 126, they break those rules all the time in the Forex. And so a lot of times we're looking for more of the shape. If it has the general shape and the general size, that's what you got, right?
Okay.
So whether you can count all the waves properly or not. So my eye just says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even though I would have to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe extended 5th in there, but they're real small right in here, little lumps that you'd have to probably go to a smaller time frame to kind of tease out of there. You know what I mean? But again, I kind of go apply that when I'm not sure. And again, you may or may not like it, but it's just something I do. It's just like, okay, it's got the look, it's got the shape. I know a lot of times in your videos, and I have the same problem, like end with a 3 wave, and you're like, what in the world? It's a 5th wave. It extends higher, but it's 3 waves. I'm just like, the 5th wave is up here somewhere in all that price action in the 1-minute chart or in the 30-second chart. You know what I mean? It's there. It's just, it's got the shape. It's got the size. It's probably the 5th wave. Let's keep rocking. I mean, that's something I do, but it carries over again from the Forex trading. So anyway, but the other, so that's just another thought that actually is, so that's a count that actually is confluent with what you have. The only disagreement is right here, which no big deal to me. I don't care. I mean, for me, and this is another rule of mine, like, okay, at the end of the day, if I put the 1 here or the 1 here, still gets me about the same areas, and I'm not, I don't have to be, because it makes a lot of sense that that's a 4 wave. That logic is sound. This looks very much like an unfinished wave. Looks like, though, because of the size, what I would say is because of the size of this wave here, either we're going to get a complex correction where we're going to come up here and then come back down, and this is going to become this big complex thing,
Ooh.
based on the size of that thing, or which makes more sense to me because of your trend lines that you were talking about, that this is just kind of, gonna come on up and keep rocking. But it's going to be pretty large,
Yeah.
comparatively to that wave. And so when we use kind of the rule of the look, or proportionality, however you want to say that.
Yeah. Symmetry. Yeah.
So anyway, that's something. But then I just wanted to speak to the last thing I just wanted to mention is that, when I just think about our world and the price actually going to $100,000, we understand that our current currency system is a fiat system, right? It's all paper. It's worthless. It's completely worthless. It's only got value because we give it value, right?
Yep.
So the only reason our US dollar has value is because you can take it to the store and people will take it from you and they'll give you stuff for it,
Mm-hmm.
and you actually take it from people yourself and you give them stuff for it, time and energy and all that stuff. And so but there's going to come a day, and I don't know when, and I'm not a, doomsdayer. Okay. But it's coming. The fiat system is coming to a head. It's going to crash at some point. All fiat systems throughout history have crashed. They all
Yep.
have.
Yep.
And so eventually I think what's going to get Bitcoin's value to the dollar up there is not going to be its value so much increasing, but its value comparatively to the decreasing value of the dollar. That would be my guess.
Mm.
So I guess this is just more my realist side of me coming out saying, yeah, guys, it might reach $50,000. It might reach $100,000, but it ain't going to buy you 10 houses. You know what I mean? If you got, it's going to be like after World War II when the Nazis were wallpapering their walls with the German mark. It's just going to
Yeah.
have, because the dollar had no value. I mean, it was worthless. And so they moved to something that had better perceived value. So it could be that over time in the next decade, that sentiment shifts to cryptocurrencies, that they become the perceived value overall. And so the dollar begins to lose its people begin to demand cryptocurrency as payment instead of fiat. So fiat wanes while crypto increases. And I think that's where the values to the dollar is going to increase. And it could get to 1 million. And that might be what we're seeing in the chart. I guess this is
Yeah.
my rationale for how is it going to get to $1 million if the fibs are showing that on the chart.
Yeah.
So that's a possible rationale.
I like that.
So, I mean, it kind of is discouraging because everybody's wanting to get rich off Bitcoin, and you're not going to get rich off of it like that. If that's what happens, it'll just, your buying power for Bitcoin will decrease. Or it's not, I mean, us on the front end, we're going to do really well. But as it begins to become mass accumulation, I think it's going to change. And who knows when, and I'm not an expert in those fields. I've just given you everything I know.
No.
So it's rudimentary knowledge, but it's just an understanding of things that are coming to a head.
Yeah. I think it's a good. I think you make a really good, valid point, honestly. And we're in the beginning of a paradigm shift, and
Indeed.
and all of these things are going to be taken into consideration as things move forward and this industry really advances. So,
well, when you see how Bitcoin seemed to react to American war, when the US dollar was at possibly, looking to be devalued, it started pumping. I mean, people started at least to try to make that correlation that this thing started pumping because of the Iran stuff, And
Yep.
so if that's the sentiment of the market, that if the dollars is at risk, then they're fleeing to gold, but not so much gold. Gold should be shooting up right now, but it's not. It's actually in a corrective wave. It's about to go down. But it should be pumping, right? But
Yeah.
I think Bitcoin's going to become the new deal. Maybe, I don't know.
I'm there with you. So I'll lock arms with you and take it on.
I know that's beyond Elliott Wave, but it's just trying to understand the market as it relates to Elliott Wave, because Elliott Wave, the whole point was he was trying to understand human emotion.
Yeah.
And he's trying to map human emotion and repetitive ways that the market moves emotionally. So
yep. And price is a reflection of that. Price is a reflection of our belief in a certain support level and a certain resistance, and whether or not you know. And so that's why I love Elliott Wave so much, is because it really is a reflection of that, you know. And so you can
Yep.
really, you know, you can kind of fine tune it, and it's a beautiful thing. It really is.
Yep.
So, well, man, I think we brought these guys a lot to consider with the whole Brave New Coin Index, with bit stamp count, with the Fibonacci's on log scale versus linear scale, and taking a look at where those targets and extensions really put things into perspective. I think one thing is agreed upon amongst us, and that is Bitcoin's going up eventually over the long term.
Yep.
So,
As bearish as I am in my videos, I'm ready to be a bull. I'm ready to put like bull, you know, and I'm ready to show pictures of bulls and everything, but I just can't do it quite yet. We're close.
quite yet, yeah. Hey, but when it happens, I'll be right there with you, man. So until
All
then,
right.
we'll figure out this bottom. Thanks for coming in and jumping on this and doing a collaboration with me, man. And I look forward to the next one too.
Sounds good, buddy.
All right, you take care.
Bye.